Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Museum Expedition 42, where no expedition has gone before. So as a part of this virtual camp, we really wanted to incorporate as many aspects of expedition as possible. And one of the more important parts of expedition is the food. So this is the first in a 3-part series that features some of your favorite recipes from some familiar faces that help make expedition. So the one that we're doing today is a recipe of my own, but we will have some other guest chefs joining us this month, so keep an eye out for them. Now the one that we're going to make today is one that I introduced after stepping into the role as camp director. I had huge shoes to fill and still know that I have huge shoes to fill. But you know, with every new person in these roles, you kind of get some of their flavor, pun intended for a cooking special, added to the program, and this was one of the spices I brought when I came in. Now, if you haven't been to Expedition in the last couple of years, you might not have had a chance to eat this one, but it's incredibly easy and very quick. And so maybe if you're interested in it, at the end of the video, you can make it at home and just have a little bit of the taste of Expedition. All right, so the recipe that we're making today, we are making in my kitchen. It is one that we have for dessert on Friday nights. It's one that my family personally would eat when we went camping. And we went camping all the time. We still go camping all the time together. And it's one that my mom used to make all the time. It's always been a favorite of mine when we're camping, and I thought that maybe those in Expedition would like it. And it seems to have turned into a kind of a popular one. So I'm excited to share this with you today. If you haven't guessed it yet, you probably have guessed it, some of you guys, but we are making Miss Allie's apple goop. That is apple goop. Yes, we were trying to think of a good name for it, and we landed on apple goop, and pretty pleased with that name. It's got some apples. It's a little goopy. Not the most beautiful thing in the world, but your stomach thinks it's gorgeous. So let's get started. Okay, so to make apple goop, you need a grand total of 3 ingredients, which is great. The first one that you'll need is a cinnamon cake mix. I really like the Krusteaz one. It's one that we've always used. But the cinnamon swirl cake mix. You will need apple pie filling from a can. And you will need butter or margarine, whatever you've got in the house. I personally prefer the unsalted, but if you like a little bit of that sweet and salty, you could use some of that salted version. Okay, so let's get started. Easy stuff. Okay, so to make apple goop, today I'm putting it in a little casserole dish. Even if it's not something that's totally necessary, I always like to spray things down. Just makes the cleanup easier later on. And then we get to the very simple assembly process. So we take our apple pie filling, pour it in the bottom. And then oops, some more apples. There we go. Spread it out. Make sure you have a nice layer at the bottom. And then get all that apple goodness. Okay. And then we take our cake mix, and we're going to use the white part of the cake mix first, and then we'll use the brown cinnamon topping later. But we're going to take our cake mix and we're going to open it. And, ooh, there we go. Sprinkle a little bit over the top. Now, apple goop is not an exact science. It's definitely a feeling, but that's okay. The more you do it, the more you understand it a little bit more. There's really not a lot to understand. Anyway, so I want to make sure that this cake mix gets covered completely, or covers the apples completely. There we go. Then take a little bit of our cinnamon topping. Okay. Take a little bit of our cinnamon topping and put it over the top. Cinnamon topping over the top. So once you finish putting all of the cinnamon topping on, you kind of spread it out a little bit, and then you put pads of butter on the top, like so. Oops. Just kind of set them out throughout the goop. And then after that, we go ahead and put a little bit of foil on it. And then it is ready for the oven. It's ready. Okay, so we just pulled the apple goop out of the oven, and I just turned the oven off. The apple goop the butter's all melted. The cake is kind of cakey looking. There are some drier parts of the cake mix, but you just mix it all together and it's delicious. So I'm going to scoop out a little bit into this ramekin I've got. If we were at Expedition, it would be on a paper plate or in a nacho tray, which have become one of my favorite plate and serving options. But I'm going to scoop out a lot of this apple goop. Oh my goodness. I wish that there was a way to get this smell through the camera to your house, because it smells delightful. All right, I like to mix my apple goop up a little bit. Remember how I said it wasn't the most beautiful looking thing in the world? It's really not, but this is what it ends up looking like. And it is delicious. All right, you have to make sure though, I let mine sit and cool for a second. Piping hot apple goop directly into the mouth area is a terrible idea, which can result in burned roofs of mouths, and it's not, as much as you want to, it's not worth it. But I've let it cool for a little bit. Oh my gosh. This is good. It's very sweet, so if you have a sweet tooth, you'll really enjoy this one. Some of our campers and staff got a little creative and really like to, the same day that we have this one, we usually have cornbread too. And they like to crumble the cornbread up into it. I tried that a couple times. It was pretty good too. But it's just good like this, I think. So, I hope that you have enjoyed this apple goop recipe. I hope it's one that you can take with you and use at your house. And keep a little bit of some of the expedition experience with you. It is delicious. I'm going to go for another bite. That's very good. So it's also really good with a little bit of ice cream. It's a lot. There's no healthy on this one. There's way I've actually tried to make it healthy and it turned out okay. But original is the way to go. But anyway, so apple goop. Keep an eye out for more Expedition 42 content that'll be dropping every weekday for the middle 3 weeks of June. And we'll have lots of different discussions and interviews and more cooking segments and just a bunch of other things happening. So keep an eye out for it. Keep following us on our social media and website. I'll put some links in the description below for this one. And yeah, enjoy your apple goop. Thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you more this month.
Delicious.